Charlie Ward might be in shit because he's taking a class change of, not paramount sizes, but it's a big class change.
And yeah, Charlie Ward takes on Abdul Razak Alhassan. I'm sure I butchered that name a little bit, but I think he's gonna be able to teach me to learn how to pronounce his name properly after this fight. Watching some tape on him, he
seems pretty good. He's 31, which is a little long.
He's got some power. His nickname is. Most of the fights that I've watched is just him just knocking fools out. But his nickname is Judo Thunder.
22 years of judo training. Yeah. He's a black belt in judo.
And so he hasn't even had to use that aspect of his game. He just goes in there. He just puts people's lights out. He's supposed to fight Dakota Cochran on Bellator as well. Obviously, he got the offer by the UFC. Sorry, Bellator, I'm going to take this opportunity. He's taking on Charlie Ward. Charlie Ward made headlines, earlier in the year for killing...
I didn't mean to.
Of course he didn't mean to. Actually, you watch the tape on that. It's just like that happens at every mixed martial arts event all over the globe.
Oh yeah, guy
all
gets
the time.
Collapse, just happen at our event.
People get knocked out, and it's very, very tragic that it happened to him, and that's why these guys get paid money to go into the cage, because these types of things can happen and will happen again in the future. It's just the nature of the beast, and it didn't look any different than all of the other knockouts that you've seen before. Whether the commissions and all of that were looking into whether he was fit to fight, that's for a different conversation, a different television program, or I guess web program, which is what we are right now. But we're going to talk about this one. Alhassan minus 350, Charlie Ward plus 260. Ward trains at SBG Ireland with the notorious Conor McGregor and John Kavanagh and all of those guys. 3-1 record against mostly a bunch of nobodies, to be perfectly honest.
That's really harsh to say about a dead guy, Paul.
Well, I didn't want to go down that route. Now you got me.
I feel.
Do I have to cut this out?
No. You know what? 3-1 is such a like young green record.
Absolutely. And
what can you really draw?
You look
from
at
that?
his tape as well, and he just kind of looks like looping, like he's learning the sport. I don't really think he deserves to be at this level yet, and I was hoping that Alhassan would be a bit. There'd be a little bit of a closer matchup by the bookies so that I could exploit that, but they were basically all over. I think it opened at like minus 450, so it actually is trending in the direction that we want.
Yep, which is good.
But yeah, he just looks like a class above Charlie Ward.
Yeah, and I think if you're the UFC and you're going to Ireland, it's like, we're going to Ireland. Now, why would we ever go to Ireland? Well, yeah, they did go back one time way back in the day, Tom Egan, good times. But for the most part, it's because of McGregor, right? McGregor opened up this market. We know that we have a lot of fans out there. There's only 6 million people, but they're very rabid and they're very passionate about MMA. So we want to go there, and they always talk about, we're going to bring McGregor and we're going to do this big stadium show. Well, that's not going to happen here. We're going to have a nice little fight night. It'll be a good time. Fight night 99. Great. But you kind of got to get something McGregor-esque on there. And I'm not saying McGregor-esque as in like an actual talent, but you got to have something that you can be like, Conor McGregor, training partner. So they want Gunnar Nelson on this card, but Gunnar Nelson gets hurt and now he's off. So they would have put in a Paddy Holohan, but Paddy Holohan ends up being a hemophiliac. He's out. And they would have put a Cathal Pendridge. Only Cathal Pendridge realized, I should not be here doing this right now. So he retires. Now you want to put a Chris Fillings, but Chris Fillings couldn't even get through the Ultimate Fighter. You want to add these guys from SPG Ireland, but let's face it, other than like Aisling Daly right now, there's not really anybody available. Mm-hmm. So you're going to go sign somebody, and you end up signing Charlie Ward. He's in here the same reason Chris Avila was ever on a UFC card. Because he trains with someone who's much more famous than him. And that does not mean that you're even remotely good. You want to know someone who's good? James Gallagher. James Gallagher is a young kid that fights, trains with Conor McGregor. Sky's the limit for him. But he's got an actual Bellator contract he can't get out of, like Alhassan. That's keeping him down there. So we're going to settle with Charlie Ward. Charlie Ward has that name recognition because, sadly enough, his name's forever going to be entwined with the fact that a guy unfortunately died in a fight with Charlie Ward. But I just want to talk about this briefly. So I only know of 2 guys that have accidentally killed somebody in a fight, right? Chris Eubank Sr. and Ray Boom Boom Mancini. And Chris Eubank Sr. is very famous for when he killed the guy went into a coma. They normally go into a coma before they die. And
brain swelling.
Brain swelling. So they put you into like a medically induced coma, and then eventually, there's complications. Very, very tragic situation.
Yep.
But Chris Eubank Sr. did it. And after it happened to him, it really messed him up, man. He didn't want to put volume punches on guys. He didn't want to hit guys. He tried trying to go to the body a lot more because he didn't want to hit them in the head. Because a part of him really felt bad. Part of him really felt like, I'm never going to really recover from this. And even now, his kid goes out there and his kid beats up Nick Blackwell. And Nick Blackwell's a tough kid. He's a Commonwealth champion. And he put him in a coma too. And you really see that it messes you up, man. It messes you up bad. And I look at Ray Boom Boom Mancini. I met Ray Mancini. And Ray Mancini, for those of you who don't know, was well on his way to being one of the greatest lightweight champions of all time in the sport of professional boxing. But he killed a guy as well, man. And it was the same thing. You beat this guy up so bad that he goes down that it messes with you. You kind of lose a bit of that.
Mentally, you just don't want to put that extra oomph into it. Whether, it's totally psychological, right?
And you could say, well,
like,
that's
you don't
not
even
gonna
think
affect
that
him.
you think that you're going full, but you're actually not going full because somewhere deep inside that brain of yours, you just can't. You can't, and it totally makes sense.
You see the guy discombobulated, and you're like, I'm gonna shoot the takedown, or that one. Honestly, it's that fraction of you now thinking about it.
Yeah.
That every sport, everyone always says, "Oh, football's a game of inches." Every sport's a game of inches. You literally have to be, the punch has to be an inch in the right direction. That ball has to be an inch towards the hoop. Everything is a game of inches. And in this case, it's the same thing. And it's not even an inch, it's a split second reaction time. And that split second reaction time of, am I going to throw this right hand, as opposed to muscle memory, throw the right hand, it makes a big difference. When I look at Charlie Ward, I don't know necessarily that he's someone who's being affected by this, but he's 3-1, Paul. He just suffered this unfortunate tragedy that affects him as much as it affects anybody. He's unfortunately had to suffer that early on to his career. So yes, he's fought once since, and he beat the guy up, don't get me wrong. But it's a low level of competition. Now he's coming in here, and against Hasan. Hasan's a guy that, as I mentioned, he's been doing judo for 22 years. He's a black belt in judo. But when you do judo for so long, and someone's like, hey kid, hit that bag, you're like, all right, that's pretty cute. I've never done that before. You fall in love with your striking. This kid fell in love with his striking. He moved from Team Takedown in Texas to Rufus Sport in Milwaukee. And if you look at his fights in Bellator, leg kick city. He loves this outside leg kick. Choose you up. You get desperate. You try to take him down. Guess what? You're not taking him down, because he's had so much judo experience. Now, when I look at this fight with Charlie Ward's a wrestler. He is. He's an Irish wrestler. He's going to want to take him down. I don't think that happens. Now you got to stand with him. And you're standing with a guy who's better at standing with you, who's not going to be gun-ho, who's faster, more athletic, and has more diversity. Charlie Ward's he's thick for a welterweight, but he's short. And I just don't think this is going to be a good outing for him. I think he gets chewed up here. And I think that minus 350 I don't love. No. But this is very much a card. You're going to have to parlay guys together that you do like. And I would put a minus 350 with some of the other pieces on the card that I like a Gar Mousasi, like a Timothy Johnson. And right away, I'm cool with that.
Yep, makes sense to me. Yeah, there's not even too many underdogs, and I look. Well, like, a lot of them that I've.
There's a lot of dogs, but they're close to even.
They're dogs that I've been thinking about. It's just like I'm almost like forcing underdogs. Like I think Ali Bagatinov has a chance, but I totally see Kyoji Horiguchi just being too fast and too elusive for him to get in there in the hips and make this his type of fight. Elmos, it's like I was almost kind of trying to like force that as an underdog. Like I'm almost. It's better to, whenever you have those types of doubts, it's better to just pass.